Hey Alice, welcome back. Came at a good time. I have the great and powerful Johnny Mac sitting here with me.
Hey everybody.
Well, welcome back. This is technically your second time on
Um,
Rabbit Hole.
I made my debut in the big group on the 200th episode.
That was a good time. I
Hmm.
enjoyed that. I enjoyed how absolutely chaotic and like didn't have a theme at all. It was
I
just
sure did
absolute
eggs.
mayhem. Oh, eggs. Eggs, what? How could I forget? Eggs was absolutely the theme of that episode. But beyond that, you have some cool stuff going on. You're playing a show this Saturday at the Bird Nest.
Indeed, at the bird nest. Um, and it's going to be really cool. It's going to be kind of a more electronic show. I know Max from Felix Tandem is trying to. I know he mentioned that to me. He wants to put on more electronic shows and stuff. Um, but yeah, I'm really excited for that. This Saturday. Uh,
Yeah,
yep.
right on. I will definitely be there if I can make it.
Cool.
That's a DM for address kind of situation, I think,
Yep.
if you're
If
planning
you
on going.
DM me at Johnny underscore Mac underscore, I'll tell you where it is. There's an H in Johnny and there's two C's in Mac, and no K.
Hell
So
yeah. I'll put links up to keep it simple.
yeah,
Yeah,
do that.
yeah, I got you.
The deciding factor of that was like if I could get a domain for it,
Hmm.
and like Mack was taken, no H in the J, like Johnny was taken, just one C, nothing else was taken. So got the two C's
Hey, the two C's
cooking.
is classy. It's classy with two C's.
That's me.
That's like such modern problem, modern solution kind of thing is like choosing your name based off of what domains are available.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else is gonna do that. The double C's, like,
They're lost.
so yeah. So I think that's mine. I think it's pretty
Yeah.
safe. Pretty much nailed that down.
Hell yeah.
Mm.
And if they do, just add more C's, dude. Add more C's until you get it.
Four C's.
18 C's.
Yeah.
You also TBD on release date, but you're working on a music video as well. That should be
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, music video for the 'cause I just dropped a single in October. It was the first single for a big new project that I'm working on. It's called Star-Crossed. Uh yeah, it's kind of a different thing for me, different kind of direction, very I like see it.
Sorry, keep going. I just realized
You're
this is
good.
playing music.
You're good.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Okay, but yeah, it's kind of like EDM track. But also a little kind of proggy. It's like even though I do like mostly dance music, my roots are in kind of like prog metal.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. I did that for like most of my youth, and then I'd like this summer where I listened to like ABBA nonstop, and I was like, you know what's actually really fucking heavy is when the kick drum goes doom, 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 and just obliterates you on every quarter note. That's actually heavy as fuck. So,
Good point.
so
Take that blast beats. This is
yeah,
the low melodic. Just
yeah,
bring the house, burning down the house.
yeah, it is true. Yeah, that is. But yeah, that's me. So
Right on.
yeah, pop music with a kind of prog spin. Um, yeah.
Hell yeah. Check out Johnny Mac. I assume that song's available now.
Yep, it's
Okay.
on all streaming services, Bandcamp. Um, you can put it in your Instagram stories. You can put it on your Snapchat stories.
You could put it on a USB and then put it inside of you.
Indeed, indeed, you can actually.
You
If you
can.
buy it on Bandcamp, you can download all different kinds of formats you got on Bandcamp. You got MP3, you've got FLAC. You can put a FLAC in your pussy. You if that's your thing, you know.
Hell yeah. I'm gonna clip that and like take it out of context and just
Oh yeah,
yeah.
cool. Controversy. I need haters. I'm too
Hey,
nice.
you know what's better than having everyone like you is having like an equal amount of people like you and an equal amount of people hate you, and then generate conversation about you as a topic. Because then that's maximizing your engagement.
That's true.
There's a lot of people utilizing that today.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm too much of a people pleaser.
Yeah.
It's too hard for me. Like at last, that's about as edgy as I get. That last comment. I don't like making people too mad.
Hey, no matter what you do, you'll always upset somebody.
That's true.
Just being successful, some people take that really personally.
That's true.
Yeah, I love prog metal as well. I love like jazz rock. That's my shit. I love
Cool.
tricky, complicated stuff, like where I think I know where it's going and it doesn't do that. I love that.
Do you listen to Opeth?
Yeah, I like
Oh,
Opeth.
fuck yeah. That's one of my favorite bands ever. I
Yeah, they're so good.
Yeah. You might not think it listening to my music, but yeah, Opeth is my shit. He's screaming again. He's growling again on the new
Really
single.
nice.
Um, it's not quite like the old stuff, but it's still pretty cool. And he brought out
That's
the
cool.
growls. I was excited. Very
That
autumn-y.
old Opeth.
Yeah. Ghost of Perdition. Fucking yeah, Leper Affinity. All that good stuff.
What kind of music was in the house when you were a kid? Like in the
Uh,
car and stuff like that.
um, it's kind of funny. Like I love my parents, but they like checked out of pop culture entirely when they met each other in 90. And then like so I got like nothing from the 90s. Got a lot of Journey. I'm a Journey defender. I would defend Journey. Got a lot of Fleetwood Mac. Love Fleetwood
Yeah.
Mac. Got a lot of classical.
Oh, that's awesome.
Gustav Holst, Claude Debussy, Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, list the works.
Nice.
But yeah, I missed out on hip hop until I was like in sixth grade. But yeah,
You big on hip hop now?
I'm getting into it. It's funny, like as far as genres go, like because I didn't grow up with it, when I listen to a hip hop song, I can love it from start to finish. But if it doesn't hook into
Mm,
things that I'm exactly familiar with, then like it won't call me back.
sure.
Which is why I love like To Pimp a Butterfly so much because there's so much
So good.
harmony and like the the productions are so like dynamic and
Mm,
varied. And I'm not saying that as a slight to other hip hop. It's just the genuinely it did sometimes it doesn't have like enough to hook on into me.
yeah,
Yeah.
I totally know what you're talking about.
Hmm.
Yeah, To Pimp a Butterfly is not only one of the best hip hop albums ever made, it's just such a solid piece of art. Like it's very well-rounded, accessible music that's also not sacrificing anything to be that way. Yeah. I love Kendrick.
Yeah, I do too.
He's a big one for me. And you're right, like he does something interesting with his music. Um, like I mean, I don't know if he's how involved in that he is, but his team is like just putting out hit after hit. So good. Yeah.
Yeah, like every song is sounds different, you know, um, on that album. I don't know. That's a great album.
Yeah.
What's your, what is, you've probably been asked this before, like on the podcast, but I want to talk about it now.
Yeah.
So,
You're interviewing me now. That's fine.
yeah, what's your favorite album? Or like what's like if I don't know, just
I have an
give
answer
me an
for you.
answer. It could
Yeah.
be like what you're listening to now.
Actually, I have one like off the top of my head.
Go.
Like absolutely. The Dust of Retreat by Margot and the Nuclear So and So's. My favorite album from my favorite band.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar.
Oh,
Initiate
dude.
me.
Yeah. We'll swap some music back and forth before you leave. But yeah, it's how do you describe it? It's so emo, but it's not pop punk. It's like acoustic singer-songwriter stuff, but it's so dark indie, like just it's not like boom clap indie. It's like
Yeah.
it's like yeah, like just singer songwriter. Like I guess like it's nothing like Bob Dylan, but like if I have to compare it to something, I guess it would be Bob Dylan. Like some of that older, it's not country music, but it
But
has a
it,
heavy focus on songwriting, like those old country artists like Merle Haggard,
yeah.
stuff like that.
But it's like not mid 2010s like folk, like boom stomp clap
Yeah,
type
no, it's
shit.
like a
Yeah.
little bit before that, before the
Gotcha.
whole boom clap, boom slap thing.
Yeah, that phenomenon.
Yeah, that was like a whole thing that happened, and then came and went.
Yeah, it's gone now.
Yeah, it just
Bye bye.
if you were not there for the boom clap era, then you just don't you missed the thing that happened, and that's okay.
That's okay. It
Yeah,
didn't stick around kind of for a
yeah.
reason.
There's a reason it's gone.
Yeah.
That I think they did everything they could with that. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing else to explore, no ground to break with that.
No.
It's done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It might come back in like 10 years, 10, 15 years,
yeah.
and but it'll be like a neo boom clap
It'll be on
stomp.
the oldies boom clap station.
Yeah, exactly. And people will
Yeah.
tune in on accident and they'll be like, oh shit, you know what? I have an idea that could, and then there'll be like a kind of a renaissance. Like everybody did their gated snares and shit and got their 80s uh, impulses out in the past like 10 years,
Yeah,
which was
you're right.
fun.
Boom clap could come back around.
Yeah. Maybe it could come back around like in a more fun way because like I like 80s music, but some of it is like I don't know. It's just a product of its time and it
Hmm.
doesn't really like translate as well today.
Sure.
Whereas like the pastiche of it today with like the real big boomy drums and like the warbly little EPs and shit is like, oh no, it's really fun to listen to. I like
Yeah.
it. It could never have been made in the 80s, but
Hmm.
it's influenced like almost solely by the 80s. So maybe Neo Boom Clap Stomp is gonna really scratch an itch, and I'm gonna fucking put on my little boots and my skinny jeans in 2035, and I'm gonna be and
and,
flannel. Don't forget
and
the
get really
flannel.
into IPAs.
Yeah, really into IPAs, and have like a shitty tan hat.
Oh, it cost a lot to look homeless. Okay. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe there'll be a neo boom clap stomp in the next 20, 30 years. Hey, you know what else? The same era that took place, like came and went, dubstep also came and went in that almost exactly the same period of time.
I feel I didn't really like dubstep at the time, but I feel like it was
Controversial opinion.
it. Yeah, but
Only
like
hot takes here.
yeah, not yeah. That's a real hot one. But like I've actually it started to grow me a little bit more. Like because it was a lot. It was very like sincere.
Hmm.
It was like let's
Hmm.
make the most goofy fucking sounds like ever. And when I
Oh,
was
okay.
when I was
Yeah.
like a fucking teenager, I was like brooding, and I was like, no, I want to hear a riff in 5/8,
Yeah,
like over and over again.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that
yeah.
that was out of the
This
question.
isn't fun.
Yeah, this
This
isn't.
is serious.
Yeah, this is serious. This is music. You're making a mockery, and now and now it's like, they were having fun with it.
That's the best argument for dubstep I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's a good argument.
I still don't like put it on, but like what has come as a result of it down the
Mm.
historical line, I really fuck with.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't
It
know. Yeah.
elements of it got adopted into like modern hip hop, and I think that's where it should stay. Because
Hmm.
I love I'm actually not big on old school hip hop, and that is like kind
Yeah.
of a blasphemic thing to say.
Yeah, it's not my thing either. I like newer hip hop for sure.
Yeah. I like the sounds, kind of the same reason you were talking about with Dip Tempo Butterfly is like there's really interesting, tricky. I like the little bells and whistles, like the going the extra mile with like production on beats and stuff like that. It's really nice.
I think it's also like with like sampling and like um looping and shit like that is that like with old school hip hop that was like new and that was fresh and that was like brand fucking new and that was crazy to hear. And now by the time that like I was born, and by the time I was getting into it, it was like that was kind of old hat and you would hear it on like the radio. So it was like I just got kind of spoiled for it,
Sure.
and I needed a little bit more. It's the same thing with like I can't like I know the Beatles did a lot of cool shit, but like I only like about half of their music,
Mm,
and the rest of it is just like I've heard it somewhere else,
yeah.
and I've heard it like a little bit more refined, a little bit better. Um, you know, not hating on the
Oh,
Beatles.
I
It's just
think
yeah, it's just a
Beatles,
historical
I
thing.
love the Beatles. I think
I do
they
too.
get
Yeah,
like some rose-colored glasses when we look back at it, though.
yeah.
Like, oh, they only made great music. No, you only know about their great music.
Yeah, we
There's
left
like,
we left Maxwell's Silver Hammer behind.
yeah, there's a couple of
Throw that
those
away.
older albums that came out that are not,
Yeah.
that is not it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much tied to like the culture and the time in the music that like it's like you're saying we didn't live through the 80s, so there's not much of an opinion we can have on that. But boom clap stomp like we
Oh, I have
we
an
have free
opinion.
reign to talk about it.
Yeah. There's like a few bands where I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, that's fine. But for the most part, it was on the radio and I turned it off. Yeah.
Switching gears here a little bit.
Go for it.
Did you grow up with religion in the
Indeed,
household?
indeed I did. Catholic baby.
Okay, we might have talked about this.
Possibly. It's a possibility. It comes up.
What? Okay, Catholic. What do you think about Lucy?
Lucy is fucking hilarious, but also like it's I don't even know what to think about it. It's on its face, fucking hysterical. Um,
Yeah.
and then like you back up and it's just like who came up with that? It's just baffling. It's like she's she's another really funny thing. This is like Catholic knowledge y'all are getting. You're not supposed to wear a rosary. Like you can, like who the fuck cares? But like you're not supposed to. It's not a thing like you traditionally do. You're
Oh,
supposed to hold it, and she's wearing it, which is
whoa.
hilarious. I know it looks like a necklace.
Whoa.
You're not supposed to wear it.
That's interesting.
I mean, you
Well, do you know
can.
about, okay, we're going real tinfoil hat now.
Okay, sick.
Do you know about, have you heard any of the conspiracies about it?
About Lucci? Is that how
Yeah.
you say it? That was Lucy.
I've been saying Lucci, but that's probably wrong.
Gotcha. I,
Lucy might be right. I've also heard loose, which is hilarious.
that is actually really fucking ironic.
That's the
Loose.
funniest choice, so let's go with that until we're corrected.
Okay, cool. Loose.
Loose.
All right.
Um, uh, so loose is Italian for light.
Gotcha.
Lucifer.
Is that the conspiracy?
That's the conspiracy.
Okay.
Because
Some
the word
Gnostics.
Lucifer,
Gotcha.
that's the Italian for
One
the
of the
morning
Gnostics.
star.
Yeah.
That's the guiding light. So hearing what you said about the rosary and the fact that the Catholics just rolled out loose, which is the light bringer essentially. Like I really like I don't think the Catholics have some nefarious end goal, but I think maybe that they're aware that this could be a controversial thing and generate a lot of attention.
They did it on purpose.
I think maybe that they knew this would cause kind of like what we're talking about. It's more than just people loving them. You've now created a conversation.
Mm.
Like we're giving a lot of press to the Catholic Church right now, you
Yeah,
know?
for their little anime girl
Yeah.
wearing a rosary wrong.
So like what I've just seen the fucking internet just like Facebook and Reddit and just melt over loose, and uh like half of it is like this is satanic within the, which is not the first time I've heard that.
I always love that when people are
Yeah,
like, the Catholic Church did something that I didn't believe in. They're actually satanic and
literally Satan.
they have abandoned Christ. I
Yeah.
love that. When the Pope says like, you know, gays can go to heaven,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Be nice to
Everyone,
gay people. That's like Satan.
yeah,
That's Satan.
the devil. It's like, oh my God, he did the literal bare minimum, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, like be kind to others. Like he's just like
Yeah.
fucking quoting Jesus.
Quote it,
And
yeah.
they're like, nope, you're the devil.
It's like, nah, the Nazarene said that, bro.
Yeah. Which I mean, like, I'm not a Christian, so I don't really have a stake in that conversation.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting that like I've seen a lot of people say that this is like, I don't know, like a dog whistle. I don't know. I don't know. Just there's conspiracies. There's a lot of talk about it.
Yeah.
The other thing I've seen is this is an anime girl. And what do you think the internet did with that?
Yeah, I saw that
Bad
too.
things.
Yeah.
Very bad things.
That was one of the first comments I saw. It was like, imagine what they're gonna. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
thanks. I wasn't thinking of that, but thank you.
I was on this thread that was like, it's been less than 24 hours, guys. Calm down. And
Oh my God.
it's just going.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
Can we not? Isn't she supposed to be a kid? Can we
yeah.
please not?
I mean, when does that ever stop the internet?
It hasn't, but like I can hope.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I wish I lived in that fantasy world where children wouldn't be exploited, but we have the internet. So, so yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, you were raised Catholic.
Yes. I
Um,
no longer practice. It just clear that up. But I don't know if you're dancing around that a second
no,
ago.
no,
But
you're good.
yeah,
I wouldn't judge you if
yeah.
you did.
No. It's kind of interesting because I consider myself like still like culturally Catholic. Me and my wife had talked about this, like how we still like rock with like the reason that we don't really practice and the reason we do not really fuck with Christianity anymore is due in part to like the teachings that were actually taught to us. And we
Mhm.
like bought into the whole love thy neighbor thing. And because
Yeah,
of that, we have become disillusioned with the faith, you
it's
know?
actually because of what you learned from scripture
Yeah,
that drove you away from the church.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Did
It's
y'all meet each other through church?
uh I guess technically we went to the same high school and it was a
Oh, okay.
Catholic high school.
Got you.
But I haven't really thought of it like that, so I would say
But yeah, I
no.
would say
But
not
yes.
technically then. Like you all met each other through school.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay. I don't remember if we've talked about it before. But I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
You did mention that. I really don't know anything about the Jehovah's Witness.
Hearing other religious upbringings is always really interesting to me because people, and don't get me wrong, Jehovah's Witnesses is a cult. I think I would say that of all organized religion, to be fair.
That's
But
fair. Fair assessment.
talking to Baptists, talking to like Seventh Day Adventists, I'm like, actually, no, they're not the craziest ones out there. There's like some really strict, harsh upbringings. Um, so I mean, yeah, it's got its ups and downs, but like all of that stuff is like pretty traumatizing. So, I mean, like I actually had it pretty good. Like my parents are really cool. Um, are you connected with your family?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I still love my parents. Yeah, they are still very Catholic. Um, but they pretty much practice what they preach. Again, they taught me to be a good person, and I like to think that I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you'll still have a good connection even though you're not practicing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't,
That's great.
to the extent that they know I'm not practicing is
Oh,
like,
sure. Well, when they watch this, you'll get disowned. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, they won't.
Yeah, my family is very similar. Like they're actually not supposed to talk to me. but I have a good relationship with my parents and my sister.
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you leave, you're not even supposed to like get a meal with that person. They've
Damn.
actually, I've been gone for about 10 years, but they've actually loosened up on all this stuff since I left. But that's how it was when I was a kid.
Yeah. They wonder why they keep losing people.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
all of these cults are just bleeding, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Scientology's down to like 30,000 members, but they're still claiming millions.
30,000.
Dude, it is
Damn.
holding on, bro.
How the
It is like less than 100,000, something like that.
Jesus.
Do your own research, but
With all the money tied up in there, they could just
mhm.
like split it in even ways and just go
Just
about.
get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no. Do not fuck with Scientology.
Oh no, no, they're actually. Have you heard about the Lincoln Park situation?
I heard you guys talking about it. I don't
Oh,
know
that's
anything
right. We
about
talked
it.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's a Scientologist. The new singer for Lincoln Park is a Scientologist, and people the song that they released with her, people have speculated that she is making digs at Scientology in her lyrics, but I kind of like personally don't trust her until she outright denounces Scientology, which, to be fair, could get her killed.
Yeah.
That's a brave thing to do. That being said, I mean, and I'm not holding that against her, but I don't trust her until that happens.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, she might turn up dead if she does, but like, there won't be like a level of trust with me until that happens.
I gotcha. Yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't even heard the new single. No, that's false. I have.
I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah,
What'd you think?
it's okay. Like
It was okay. Yeah.
it's like I could hear it being played on like the Hard Rock station in my hometown,
Yes.
and it's for yeah,
This
it's fine. She's
song,
got a good voice.
yeah, for sure. This song exists.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. It's like I'm not mad about it, but
Yeah.
like, eh, yeah,
Take it or leave it.
take it or leave
Yeah.
it.
I feel the same way.
Yeah,
I mean, like, if we're like worst case scenario, right, is like Lincoln Park is a great thing to have at your disposal. It's a very interesting thing to have available to you, kind of like the celebrities that they enlist, like Will Smith and Tom Cruise, and like that's all very useful.
okay, no,
So there's
yeah,
plenty of like motivation for
yeah,
that.
that's true.
I mean, if she doesn't outright and renounce them, right, she might play it low key for a while and then amp up the message once she gets like once she's like been established. Like not rock the boat too much right now, but like once she's been established, like yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I have like
Do you think the rest of I don't know much about Linkin Park lore. Do you think the rest of the band would be like rocking with that or
I don't know, but Mike Shinoda and Bedingfield were having some issues creatively, and or more specifically, I think it was Bedingfield was having issues with the label, and the rest of them decided to go whatever the split was to go with the label, and he was kind of the odd one out on it. I don't have any more details than that. Maybe I'm talking out my ass right now,
you're all good? I talk
but
out my ass every day.
he um he died
Yeah.
while working on a documentary about human trafficking that never came out.
Oh,
And so did Chris Cornell. He was working on it with him, and they both killed themselves.
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Lincoln Park has kind of had a sketchy thing for a while. So are they Scientologists? Are they in with the Scientologist agenda? I don't know. But I just don't have any trust. I don't like, we've been lied to so much, not just Americans, but the whole world. We've been lied to so much that it's not my fault that I'm extremely paranoid. Like, there's a reason for it, you know?
Yeah. You
I have
know,
trust issues for a reason.
you know that the CIA have there are documents that have been released of how they intentionally uh have um, kind of sullied the name of um, conspiracy theorists.
Mm.
My kind of like crackpot theory is that they saw flat Earth and they saw anti-vax, and they're like, okay,
Oh,
this
I
is
thought you meant they saw the flat Earth. Okay, no, I'm with you.
oh
Go
no
ahead.
no no no.
Go ahead.
They saw I'm not a flat earther. They saw
Woo!
they saw like flat earthers
Yeah, yeah.
and anti-vaxxers. Um, and we're like, you know what? Let's pump some money into this
Oh, yeah.
to make um uh, uh, uh conspiracy theorists look like complete nut jobs,
Mm,
because that would go completely in line with what they were doing in the 60s and 70s in order to make conspiracy theorists look like morons.
mm,
Another one that I've kind of like thought about is, like the UFO footage that they
mm.
that they just released.
Oh, do I?
I don't think it's real. I think it is more fodder for conspiracy theorists so that everybody can say, "Oh, it's the fucking it's the reptilians, it's the fucking grays." It's not the fucking grays. It's the fucking greed at the top. And
Sure.
that's my take on it. It's a little bit more rationalist, but it's still a little bit out there. I think the UFO tape, I think every UFO that's ever been seen is a government experiment
Mm,
or a hoax made to make conspiracy theorists look more insane.
interesting. So we know some of that is the case. There's confirmed examples of this. With like I think it was Russia hoaxed Americans a long time ago, 60s, 70s. There's like a crash with a little green man, and it was actually proven that this person was um, a short person that was mutilated to look a certain way.
Jesus Christ, I've not heard of that.
Mhm.
That's not the
I
that's
can't
not like the
remember.
Roswell thing. No?
It's like the only one I can think of where there's like like an entity. Um, I don't remember.
Gotcha.
Uh,
Shit, I haven't heard of that. That's
yeah,
awful.
if you yeah, if you're watching this, like, please don't take my word for anything that I'm saying. Like, definitely look these things up yourself. Because I admittedly probably have some details wrong about this.
It's a podcast, it's
Yeah.
entertainment. Right.
Don't take
This
anything
is
I
not
say too
gospel.
seriously.
We did not cite sources in the
Yeah.
description.
If I incited violence against the government or big business, it was all in Minecraft.
Exactly.
Uh,
I love big businesses. Personally, the bigger the better.
yeah,
That's what I
big
say.
businesses, I love
That's the
them.
best.
Also, the government has everyone's best interest at heart.
Always.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go to Walmart and I tip them. Like not like the workers
Not
though.
the workers, you
Not the
tip
workers. I
Walmart.
tip Walmart. I just say like keep the change, and then they're like, really? I'm like, you
Not you.
give it to Mr. Wall, Mr. Mart. Give it to Mr. Mart, man. He No, love big business, love
Love
Walmart,
it.
love
It's
Target, love Best Buy, love them. Big box stores.
yeah.
They got everything you ever need.
This episode is brought to you by
Indeed, it's by Amazon.
by Amazon.
Indeed, the Johnny Mac episode is sponsored nefariously. You'll never have to make another episode again.
Yeah,
Actually,
we're done actually. This is the last. We made it to 200. Waited to have you on until then because I knew it would be the end
yeah,
of.
it'd be big bucks. Big
Yeah.
bucks coming your way.
Yeah, immediately gonna sell out now
Uh-huh.
and do something completely different than what we've
Awesome.
been doing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Uh oh,
Do not trust anything
yes.
you hear online at all.
So we know that some of that is a hoax, confirmed. It is not hard for me at all to believe that also what we're seeing now, because it's more frequent now, is also a hoax, disinformation. Uh, However, if that's the case, it cannot be what they're claiming it to be. It's got to be like a hologram or something, because what I feel pretty confident about is they do not have, no government has anti-gravity technology because that's like so many exponential levels beyond having nuclear technology that you would just like if you've got UFOs, you just whip your dick out to the world and you're like, okay, we run the planet now. Uh, try me. And you might even do a Hiroshima just to make a statement. Like it is not a competition if the technology that is theorized to be what UFOs are is in the hands of any of these governments. Unless there's some kind of oligarchy on where it's like they're all opinions and it's all run by one entity, then maybe. But there is no war once one of these things gets anti-gravity. Uh, Fuck transportation. You just put up a force field and the nukes just bounce off. Like,
I haven't thought about the upshots of that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I think it's kind of a hoax. Because like if they have like, did you hear about the like one thing that looks like a limousine? I don't know. That one,
Oh,
like,
like a UFO?
yeah, like my uncle saw it, my dad saw it,
Hmm.
and then like a few years later, the government like released like a picture of it, and it's like, yep, that was us.
Okay.
So like, I don't know. There's some things, but yeah, I don't think true
No.
anti-gravity probably not, probably
Because,
not.
like, Bob Lazar? Have you heard that name?
I've heard of that. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. That's the
He,
guy that like talks big smack.
yeah, he claims to have worked at a branch of Area 51 and worked on recovered crafts.
The
And
the fact that he's not gone.
he's got an interesting story about how he's not dead, um, which
Oh, okay.
which I mean, might also be bullshit. I'm
Yeah,
not completely counting him out as like a psyop, but he has been um, put through a lot of what's the word here? Scrutiny by like facial analysts, like people who like masters of reading, like interrogators,
yeah.
like reading micro expressions, stuff like that. He's been consistent in his account since the 80s. He hasn't like said this thing here and said this thing here. He's been like super consistent about what he says. He doesn't overstate himself. He's like, I worked on this. I don't know what this means, admittedly. Like, as also the way he describes it is it's super compartmentalized, where it's like he's working on the propulsion engine. This other person's working on something completely different. They don't have any contact. And he was talking about how it actually slows down the scientific process because all these people are not communicating with each other.
Mm.
He also says he was given documents about it that he knows had false information in them because it's like there's no way that's true. And he thinks everyone was given different information. That way, if there is a leak, they can like trace it back to where the leak came from.
Mm.
But there are multiple someone drove him off the road, like tried to wreck him, did successfully wrecked him, and he called a taxi and went straight to some broadcasting station and went public with it
Is that the thing at the end of
immediately.
the Tool album?
Maybe. Which album?
Lateralis.
I'd have to look at it. That's interesting if it is.
There's like a, I think it's, yeah, it's like a track that's like about, it's just like a radio broadcast. I don't
It
know.
might be.
Maybe they made it for the album. I have no clue.
Yeah, Bob Lazar is just a really good like promotional campaign for lateralysis.
Or no, I
I knew what you
yeah.
meant. I just took it a step further.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I don't have any problem believing that the government, what we see is government propaganda, but I really doubt that they must not have that technology then, because if they did, it's game over. Because the way he describes like not just Bob Lazar, but some of these accounts that we hear about, there is no wind resistance. It doesn't lose any speed going between water and air. Like it's not propulsion. There's no G-force. So like it's like not a combustion engine. It's not any kind of propulsion like where something is pushing you.
It's just chess. It's like an E5 to D6 or whatever,
Yeah,
and
it
it
zips
just
around.
boom.
Yeah. There's no like he described it as like a laser pointer on a wall. It's like zzz.
Oh yeah, I've heard. Yeah, and I've seen something myself
Really?
that has
Ooh,
been
do tell.
documented a bunch of times. It was in the middle of fucking broad daylight. I was like on my way home from school. I was in the passenger seat. My mom was driving, and I looked at the sky, and there was like a little shiny object, and it split into three, and then they all shot off in different directions. And I'm like, huh. And I looked it up, and like, yeah, a lot of people have seen that exact phenomenon every once in a while.
I've heard the same story
Yeah.
on the show.
On the show, really?
Where were you?
Evansville, Indiana. I was probably, it was like past the point where I was probably in like eighth grade. So, like, disclaimer, I was past the point where like I knew about UFOs, but not to the point where I am now, where I'm a very big skeptic. So I could have seen something or a reflection in the
Sure.
windshield or something and been like, no doubt. But it is something I carry with me because it's interesting.
That is very interesting.
But yes, a lot of people have
A
seen
lot
that
of
exact
people have
thing.
seen that.
And I didn't really know that until after I looked it up. So that led some
That's like
credence
a
to it.
yeah, that's like a something a lot of people have seen.
Hmm.
My friend Jesse Stillwagon from the Midgard Musings podcast has this phrase, unverified personal gnosis. So when something weird happens, but that event exists in a vacuum because no one else can verify it. So and typically like in occult circles, UPG is kind of just taken at hand. Like, okay, this is a thing that happened to you. We really don't know much more about it beyond that, but that is something a lot of people have seen. So even if you're the only one who saw it in that moment, like other people completely unrelated situations all over the country have seen that, like a conversion and then a split. Um, what did the shape look like?
It was too far
Too
away.
far.
It just looked
Okay.
like three dots.
And they like split and like
They were one dot and then they split into three dots and then they went off at a speed that was absolutely asinine and ridiculous and then they vanished from sight.
hmm,
And we were in the middle of the city and I just like looking over the mall really. And it was so far away to where realistically perhaps nobody else in the city saw it
yeah.
because I was looking at the right place at the right time and it just kind of appeared, happened, and it was gone.
I appreciate the skeptic in you being like that could be biases of me having heard of UFOs. But like if we as adults look at that event, what could that be? Except like some technology that's beyond us,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, if it is what I saw, then yep, it's a
Either
technology
that or
that's
like a
beyond us.
hallucination. Like those are really the only two options, right? Like
Yes.
logically.
I am not prone to hallucinations, but could have happened. Maybe I skipped lunch.
Yeah. But like, yeah, not even saying that as a likelihood, but those are literally the only two possibilities I can think of.
Yeah.
It's some technology we don't understand,
Mhm.
or it didn't happen, basically. Yeah. That anyway, I always find those stories so fascinating, especially from people who are not super into it, like and about that.
Yeah.
Um,
I am very much a skeptic, but at the same time, it's like you have some people that are like super against God of the Gaps, and
yeah,
like militantly like not atheist, like anti-theist,
sure.
Um, and then you have the other like side of the spectrum of people that really do just like, all right, well, science did this, and this, and then everything else was supernatural. And it's like to claim that A, we're done learning things and that everything else is supernatural is stupid. And B, to think that science is going to be able to explain everything eventually, like everything, it's also a little naive.
Yeah.
So like there's always going to be something out there that is
Yeah.
unexplainable. And it used to be the cold, you know?
Mm,
And now it's more, existential and way more out there. But, there's always going to be something that we won't be able to explain.
for sure.
Our best theories of the universe will, I mean, even if we like make it all the way to the heat death, probably won't be perfect.
Oh no,
All right.
absolutely not.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say the more we learn, the more questions that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it actually, when you start to understand things, it doesn't result in answers. It results in exponential amounts of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
It is
It's
cool.
fucking awesome.
It is fucking awesome. And I couldn't agree more with you that like logic is not going to answer all of your questions
Mm-hmm.
the same way that religion isn't.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I think a big part of this issue that we're having in communication, not you and I, but humanity, is language. Um,
Oh fucking boy.
yeah.
Like like a perfect example of that would be like pro-life versus
Hmm.
pro-choice. It's like those aren't,
Yes.
there is no anti-choice movement. There
Hmm.
is no anti-life. There is no pro-death movement. And so it's just obviously I support women's rights to being in full autonomy of their
Same.
bodies, but it's just people talking past each other. And like
Yes.
they'll bring up a good point, like, our side will bring up a great point that will not meet any other point of someone who is pro-life. And then they will talk about when they think life begins, when they
Mm,
think life begins and stuff like that. And it does not matter to the points that we bring up, like ectopic
yep.
pregnancies and um and the like, stuff like that. It's people talking past each other. It's like
Yep.
both are making, when does consciousness start? I don't fucking know. But like if it doesn't really have a brain, like let's get it out of there.
Yep.
But it's
That's very important what you said
yeah.
because it is a disagree at its core, it's a disagreement about what life is.
Mhm.
And one language says it's this, one language says it's this, and they're not speaking the same language.
Mhm.
Same thing with gender. It's like gender is biological sex. If that's how you're defining it, then no argument is going to sway your opinion about that because the other side is saying gender is mental and a spiritual thing that is not tied at all to biological sex. So these are two different definitions of the same word, and neither side will ever find any compromise because they're speaking different languages. And I would even say, like, both are right in the context of the definitions that they've set up. Um, because this is all semantics, it's all word salad stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
When
yeah.
I saw something that was really interesting. It was talking about how like the like nuclear family and like traditional values and shit are stuff that really hasn't been around all that long for human history. It's just as language has progressed and we started gendering a table, you know,
Mm.
we just got real hung up on the binary.
You mean in
Um,
like Latin languages?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like that's just one example of us getting
Sure.
hung up on the binary. But like, there's evidence and like fact of transness and gender fluidness from thousands and thousands of years
Mm.
ago. And it like,
There's a science to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Like
like,
documented science.
yeah, and like the traditional family values is just shit that you grew up with, even though that it's only been around a few hundred years.
Mm.
It's not natural. It's just a it is a It's something you cooked up, really.
Yeah.
You know.
How familiar are you with scripture? Like, I don't know how much Catholics read the Bible.
Fairly, a lot more than
Okay.
most American
Okay.
Christians. I'll tell you what.
Gotcha. Okay. So relatively well rounded on that.
Well
Okay.
rounded. I couldn't quote it, but you know.
I got you. Yeah, I'm the same way. I can't quote it, but I've read the Bible.
Yeah.
And so you're familiar with the Tower of Babel.
Mhm.
Um, the languages split and they're no longer able to cooperate
Mhm.
or form a structure because they're all speaking different languages.
You know what? That's a really interesting way of like thinking about that. It's not actual changing of languages, but the reason the Tower of Babel fell is that people got real hung up on their way of doing things, and people got hung up on their way of doing things, and their points didn't match up.
Yeah.
And so their arguments fell flat, and it was just talking past each other.
Yes.
That's fascinating,
Right.
actually. That's a really interesting way of looking at the Tower of
And
Babel.
that's why I'm like, I'm not a Christian and I hate organized religion.
Mhm.
But that book
It's got some cool
is
shit in
on
there.
some shit, dude. Like, I don't agree with everything in it,
Yeah.
but like those people were highly, highly advanced.
Oh yeah.
Like the
Just
ancient, especially Old Testament, like those ancient rabbis that wrote that shit, dude, they're way more intelligent than I am or like anyone I know. Like they're on another fucking level.
yeah, it's just kind of I don't know. It just goes to show that like humans haven't changed that much. We're
Yeah.
still finding out like one thing that gets me is like every once in a while I'll read something like interesting about like alchemy or like proto science,
Mm.
and it's like people
I love that shit.
yeah, some people will be like, I was like, oh wow, they actually thought fire was an element. It's like, but it worked though, and they went into
Mm.
extreme detail in order to yeah, just a little bit more.
Yeah.
They
I'll
went
let you do that so I don't
oh
overpour it.
absolutely, they would go into extreme detail into determining these or outlining these systems of how the world works. And like for their knowledge of the world, it was extremely sophisticated and it worked pretty
Mm.
damn well.
Yeah.
They're just like us. It's just they didn't know about, I don't know, fucking relativity.
Yeah.
It's like they, so yeah, when people try and say like, um, like humans didn't do the pyramids, it's like just give them time. It took them hundreds of years to fucking
Mm.
figure it out. They're just as like intent intellectually capable as us. They just didn't have all of the resources that we
And
have, and it just took them more time.
and
And
in a
but they
lot
got
of
it done.
ways, more intellectual prowess than we have in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they didn't have the instant gratification
Hmm.
of like, what's that word mean? Google it. Now I know.
Yeah.
They would have to go through some shit to go find out what the hell, like, something if they read it and they didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
They'd have to go find the learned
And
person,
there's time to dedicate yourself to a craft.
Mhm.
Like no one's like no one's a what's the word here? Well, there's just not um masters anymore. Like
Yeah.
like all of the best people at the thing have already come and gone. Like even in music, man, like Jimi Hendrix, like Miles Davis, like everything is so
Miles Davis
derivative
rocks.
of yeah, dude, I fucking love Miles Davis. But it's like he did it already.
It
Like what
just,
are you gonna do that Miles Davis didn't do,
I
you
don't
know?
know. Yeah.
Like there's progressive jazz. I don't want to say there's not, but like it is
It's
in the
definitely,
school of Miles
yeah.
Davis.
And it's like if you're doing something new and unique in jazz, it's barely jazz anymore. Because, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
No, I know what you
Like,
mean.
I
Yeah,
mean that in like a good way.
that's
Because
funny.
like jazz, the word has become so broad
Mm,
that it's just like it's time to like categorize that and put that term on the shelf and like um
I see.
in my head. And like whatever like new jazz is coming out, I honestly just don't think of it as jazz. I think of it as, I don't know, maybe let's go real original with it. It's a new jazz. And you.
And you, oh,
And new jazz.
oh God. Oh, that made me feel gross. Oh,
Oh, you don't like new metal?
I don't like new jazz. I
Oh,
don't like that.
no. But
New jazz. Oh my God.
but yeah, like same thing with like technology is advancing so fast that like the expertise of like I'm a pretty good producer. I'm a pretty good mixer and masterer, right? Like producer for myself. But like that's because of like all of the shit that I stand on the shoulders of.
Mm,
Like I don't
yeah.
have to take a scalpel to work and
Hmm.
stitch tape together. You know, I drag it around with a mouse and I can recombine it and
Yeah.
it will be a perfect like recombination. I don't have five takes to do things. I have infinite, you know. And yeah, like what you were saying, the like mastery of a thing has become um as far as like mastering something in the way that it has been done in the past has become more of like almost a collecting thing. It's like
Mm.
I've collected that ability, you know? And then like you
From
have
like deep study of, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And then like if you wanted to really push it like someone like Sophie, you know, like she really fucking pushed production in like an strange and esoteric and pushing just audio to its limits. Um, that's what you have to like do in order to really, really be a master. Now, you
Yeah.
know, you have to like, you can't just be like, I spent 50 years learning how to make a violin. It's like, all right, I got the basics. The technology did it. You know, I got a DAW. It's in the box. You know, I
Hmm.
got like the technical things are all kind of worked out for me. How do I become so fucking strange and so
Yeah.
innately like um aware of every strange little thing that I do that it's uncopyable.
Yeah. Put your trademark on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the new mastery is originality.
Authenticity, originality. Yes, absolutely. I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. It's like splitting it down further and further until you find your groove and then like push that as far as you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't make music, but I do poetry and um my poetry is very I don't like traditional poets. Like I studied poetry a little bit and I just don't like contemporary poetry.
Gotcha.
But I'm very heavily influenced by hip hop. So a lot of my poetry reads like rap. Because that's where I've actually like had the interest and studied instead of and like there's a lot of reasons I haven't gotten into the musical side of that, but some of my wordplay is not verbal but written, like how I spell things.
That's
So
fuck.
it doesn't
That's
translate.
cool.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I actually really fuck with that.
Oh, thank you, dude.
Yeah.
I have
Continue. Sorry
I
to
post all
do.
my stuff on my Instagram. I'll send you a link to it.
Hell yeah. That would yeah, that's cool as
Oh,
hell.
thank you. Appreciate that.
Both my parents are writers, so I like words.
Right on.
Um, and like puns and intentional
Mm,
misspellings to change the meaning
yeah.
or make a double entendre work. That's my shit.
I
That's cool.
I would say like as a statement about my style, it's more focused on being clever than having something to say. Like the wordplay itself is what I'm really interested in, not having a message.
That's still cool as
Thank
hell,
you.
you know? Yeah, it kind of kind of like in a musical standpoint, where that kind of like comes to me, where when I listen to it, I'm just like, this is like I really don't. This is not telling me anything about my soul.
Mm,
Um, but it's just some dudes having a lot of fucking fun,
mm.
and I rock with that.
Yeah.
And that like two names come to mind. One is fucking Bruno Mars.
Mm.
It's just like really great mixes, really fun hooks. What does his music mean? Nothing. It's vapid.
Makes fucking catchy shit though.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
And it's very fun. And the other one is fucking Dragon Force.
Oh.
I put that shit on to like hit the treadmill, and they're singing about like slaying dragons and shit.
Hmm.
And then they go off on a trillion note solo.
That power metal, dude.
Yeah, does it
That's
mean?
another era that kind of came and went.
Oh, it came. Yeah, it came and went.
Like Hammerfall.
All those bands now that were like doing like power metal and like that kind of shit. Do you know what they're doing now?
What?
They're doing Imagine Dragons rock. I
Ugh.
know.
That's horrible.
So many rock bands from like the 2000s, just like when the 2010s hit, they just didn't know what to do anymore. Fucking Muse is doing Imagine Dragons
Oh
rock
no,
now.
really?
Yeah, it's really, I don't, if you like Muse, I'm sorry, but
That is sad. I
uh,
love Muse. I
um
haven't, but I mean, I guess I don't love Muse because I didn't know that. Like, I haven't listened to them in a long time.
I love Black Holes and Revelations, a great album.
Hmm.
Shinedown, I fucking love their first album. Fly from the Inside, what a great song. They're doing fucking Imagine Dragons rock now.
Okay.
And
See, with
it's
Shinedown, that's the Shinedown that I know is Imagine Dragons stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Their early stuff is that like post grunge
Okay.
stuff. It slaps.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I like I like
I
I
got,
like
well, I
their
gotta
first
listen to
album.
old Shinedown now because I didn't know that.
Listen to like the first half of their first album, and then I think you can stop.
Okay.
But I rock with that first half of
Hell
that
yeah.
first album.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. The Imagine Dragons vacation of a bunch of artists was upsetting to see.
This was also in the Bible. It was Exodus.
Yeah. No, it was Revelation.
That's Revelation. This was prophesied.
Yeah.
Imagine
Imagine dragons.
dragons.
Oh my God.
The signs were there.
The signs were there. They
They
said
tried to warn
this is
us.
the end times of this is the end times of a lot of really fun bands.
Imagine Dragons is literally the Antichrist.
Yeah.
They told us to imagine dragons, and we collectively manifested the dragon.
Yeah.
Fuck.
God damn it.
It's too late.
Yeah,
Might as well just throw in the towel. Humanity's done.
no, it's when I when I was teaching guitar, I really love teaching, but there occasionally it was there would be like a sixth or seventh grader in there. And the only music that it was always like a young boy. The only music you wanted to learn was Imagine Dragons and like new Imagine Dragons, not even like the old stuff when it was like relatively like chic and new, like the new stuff that is the but I can't hate them. I can't hate Imagine Dragons
Mm.
because that's who they make music for. They make music for
for little babies.
well, no, for like sixth graders that have just realized that it's normal to be depressed sometimes.
Aww.
Yeah, because
Aww.
their lyrics are so fucking like banal and like lowest common denominator of just like sometimes you get sad and that's okay and you get back up. And I just see like a sixth grader come in and it's like, I want to learn this song. I'm like, yeah, man, we're gonna teach it and I'm gonna teach it to you. And it's the same four chords for 3 minutes and it's fucking inane, but we're gonna learn it for you, man.
And it's a song that they can really learn. And
Yeah,
it'll mean something to them.
exactly. It's super easy to learn. It's super easy.
Oh man. That you're right. That does serve a purpose.
It serves a
It's
purpose.
like you don't want it to not exist.
Yeah, exactly. It's a stepping stone.
Damn.
It's like Imagine Dragons, few steps at Radiohead.
Oh fuck. The Imagine Dragons to Radiohead pipeline.
Yeah.
It's real.
I don't know what the pipeline would actually be, but for real,
It's
like
learning an instrument is
yeah,
the pipeline that
yeah,
gets there.
yeah. Imagine Dragons, learn an instrument, listen to something else. That's the pipeline.
Well, actually, on that, because you've taught guitar, so
Yes.
you're like the perfect person to ask this. How, because like we're around the same age, I think. I'm 28.
28, baby.
Yeah, okay. Um, my mom is a really good piano player,
Mhm.
like pretty good. And she like really took the time to like teach me piano and like teach me to read sheet music, which I did not stay with because I had video games to play.
Fair.
Do you have any advice for kids that want to learn a discipline, like learn an instrument?
Um, yeah, the number one advice that I have is the second you get home from lessons, take it out of the bag and put it right next to your bed. The
Okay.
added step of getting it out of the bag or like doing something like that will keep you from actually like doing it. Because if it's right there, it's already plugged in, it's ready to go. You say, I don't know what I'm gonna do, like with my little 30 minutes that I have. Oh, there's the guitar. Let's fuck around, you know? Whereas if you get home from lessons and you put it up against the wall, then it might be 3 or 4 days before you actually get the guitar out of the case.
Yeah,
That's my number one bit of advice because
that's good advice.
that's what I would do. I would get home and I would immediately take it out of the bag and plug everything back in. Partly, part of that was like OCD. I'm like, before I go to bed, everything has to be like, spick and span in my room. And even though my room was very messy, but I had to have everything like plugged in, you know? And
That's good advice.
yeah,
Make it easy for yourself.
yeah.
Take baby steps to make it accessible until it becomes a routine. Yeah.
I read something about like successful people. I usually don't like read stuff like like motivational YouTube type stuff because I think sometimes it's hilarious.
Mm.
But
Oh, it is.
but I read this one thing that was like successful people aren't like super disciplined. It's just they separate themselves from things that cause them failure. So like they're like,
Mm.
oh, I get distracted by my phone a lot. Okay, well, I'm just gonna put my phone in another room while I work. Just like as simple as that. And that's just like for someone with like a successful mindset. Again, I'm using like motivational YouTube terms, but if someone with a
All right, Andrew
successful
Tate, calm
mindset,
down. I'm just kidding.
they put their phone in the other room.
Dude,
That's
no,
their
that actually
that's their
is.
first reaction. They say, I need to get this phone away from me.
That's man, it's so true. That is true though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like sometimes I would say oftentimes the simplest things are the most profound.
Hmm.
It's
Yes,
also like,
staring at your phone, going, "I'm not gonna pick it up. I'm not gonna pick it up. I'm not gonna pick it up," or like looking at your game system and saying, "I'm not gonna like pick up a video game. I'm gonna do my work now. I'm gonna do it right now. Go to a different room, dog. Quit looking
too
at it."
too bad too bad you can't put your dick in another room.
Yeah.
It's always with you, constantly taunting you.
Taunting. I don't know why you're a
Like,
dick, but
hey buddy, you wanna play?
that's not what my dick says.
What does your dick say?
Don't, not that.
It's not creepy and like
Yeah, it doesn't.
predatory.
No, it doesn't whisper things to me.
Hey buddy, don't you want to jerk off right now?
Mine's got
The worst ASMR.
the worst. Mine's got a Brooklyn accent. She yells at me.
Do an impression of your dick yelling at you.
Hey, hey, Andy. Good to see you. Let's get the usual going right here with a little, I don't know. And make it snappy. I got things to do.
Yeah, we ain't got all day.
We ain't got a day. I'll take the you. You know what? I'll take a double of the use today. I did. Yeah.
Take the double.
I'm feeling a little fresh today. Let's do the double. Long day ahead of me.
That could mean a few different things, and
It can mean whatever, man.
oh man.
The Brooklyn sandwich shop, uh, Dick. You know.
Oh my God. Okay, all right. Ghost stories. Have you ever experienced a supernatural phenomena that you can't explain?
No, but I know people that are skeptics slash people that I trust very much that have, so I lend credence to it.
Mm.
Very exciting answer, I
That
know.
that UPG, the unverified personal gnosis.
Yes.
I have quite a bit of it myself,
Gotcha.
which is why I think the way I do is informed by experience. Um, I also didn't have anything weird happen to me when I was a kid or anything like that. It was only when I sought it out, like when I got into Thelema and like chaos magic and Crowley is like when I went down the path of doing that, which is like confirmation bias, which I've had a lot of I got a lot of stories. I've had a lot of experiences with things I would consider spirits. However, in all of my encounters, let's say, I've never experienced poltergeist activity. I've never seen something levitate or defy the laws of physics. It's always like bodily possession, like channeling, inner monologue, and there's two schools of thought in chaos magic, which is left hand path and right hand path.
Explain. I am
Yeah.
woefully ignorant
Yeah.
on esoterica.
So chaos magic is kind of like a practical scientific approach to magic, like the non-scientific, trying to attach a scientific landscape to that, um, aka philosophy. I mean, not philosophy, psychology. So right hand path is I get my power from a patron. I'm having a communication with something outside of myself. Left hand path is I draw my power from within, and anything I'm communicating with is an aspect of my subconscious. Chaos says, okay, these are the two schools of thought when it comes to this stuff. Let me explain those to you so we can get it out of the way. And whichever one you are comfortable with, operate under that assumption so we can get into practicality. Like what can you do? What are the limits of human potential? And what you find out, like I'm a healthy balance between like what I think is going on. I think pretty strongly that I've had encounters with other entities, but I also reserve um, a part of myself that this is all in my head, which I think is healthy to do. Otherwise, you're mad. You have to hold on, like at least have your pinky toe insanity, you know, right? Um, so where was I going with that?
The two, left, right hand, left hand.
Yeah, but I think any like serious, which is funny to say serious magicians because it sounds so silly, but anyone who's like taking magic seriously as a practice is not talking about shooting fire out of your hands or levitation.
What?
They're talking about
Bummer.
Jungian psychology is really what it is, like integrate shadow integration. And um, I've got a lot of stories, but I've
I'll tell
taught
one. Like,
the problem is I've told them all on
ah,
here, so I'll tell you later.
okay,
But
cool.
like I've met I don't believe in the devil, but I have met Satan as real as we're having this conversation right now. And I'll tell you that story later.
Okay.
But Alice has heard it probably multiple times. But um I don't know what to make of that, right?
Mhm.
There's no it's not breaking the laws of physics, so it could all just be in my head. But oh, that's where I was going with this. It really comes down to it doesn't matter because your subconscious is so much greater than the conscious part of your brain. Like the you think of as you as the tip of this colossal iceberg.
Mhm.
And the depth of the subconscious is so vast that you would not be able to determine. You can create entities with entire backgrounds and communicate with them. You can manifest that kind of stuff.
That brings up something insane that I have heard of, and it's have you ever heard of spinal catastrophism?
No.
I don't remember why it's called that. So, this is why you do your own research.
Yeah.
But basically, the lower physically you get in the spine, the further evolutionarily back you go. Um, to where
Okay.
basically it's saying that all the way down to like your fucking ass is your subconscious. Your spinal column is your subconscious, all the way up to the stem, to the frontal lobe, to the
Whoa.
top. And the further down you go, the further down you get into evolutionary memories, right?
Oh shit.
So not actual memories,
Yeah.
but um,
What informs your
figures.
DNA?
Yes,
Yeah.
figures in your species past that threatened you and your ancestors over generations. So that would be certain predators, perhaps diseases that kept on coming back generation after generation after generation. And when you are traumatized, you get or when you are kind of like in shock, in a traumatic situation, you kind of sink in there, and your
Mm.
essentially your entire subconscious is just filing through millions of years of bad entities, trying to figure out like what the hell it is you're dealing with right now.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Holy shit.
it's pretty cool.
That's wild. And all that's I don't have any doubt that all that is stored in your DNA.
There,
Like,
yeah, there are definitely like, I mean, fight or flight and shit. Like that's um situational things that have happened over and over and over
mm,
and over and over again. It's because we have the higher consciousness. We take for granted how much just straight up DNA can make an individual do things.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like geese, they roll an egg. They use their beak to roll their egg from like a place to a place if they need to move it. You take the egg away, they will continue the motion of rolling the egg until they've reached the destination. And then they snap out of it and they go, "Hey, where the fuck my egg?" Shit like that. It's
Wow.
just programmed straight in there, and they have to do it because
Damn.
they don't have the higher consciousness, the self-awareness. They might have some kind of higher
Yeah.
higher conscious. Um, I would say most animals do, but they don't have the self-awareness to snap out of routine,
Mm.
the routines that are embedded in their DNA.
That is fucking incredible. And like people only have the illusion that that's not the case with them
Yeah,
because that's
and
absolutely the case with people too.
yeah, if you think about it, you can break those. But if you
Mm.
don't think about it, if you don't think about your own psyche and you just kind of remain willfully ignorant of your existence as a human being, you'll just end up doing self-preservational slash pleasurable shit,
Yeah.
and you'll just fall in a cycle of
And it's
that.
like, this brings me back to what you were saying about learning guitar too, is you can think it, but it requires like these little actions and steps. Like it requires a lot of like actual work to get there. It's not as simple as, oh, I understand this is a habit that I have. I'm going to stop doing it. Like no one's ever stopped a habit that way. Like it requires all these little micro steps to get where you're going. And it could be as simple as like just making your guitar accessible to yourself or like making a conscious effort to like eat healthy instead of like eat the garbage that is forced upon us. which is I would say, actually impossible to do entirely.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible to run away
Yeah.
from eating unhealthy.
Yeah, especially in America.
Yeah,
Everything's poisoned.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, go ahead.
Do you want to hear my um I know that like we've talked a lot about how like I'm a skeptic, but I wanted to hear your take on this or if you know
Yeah.
anything about this.
Oh, I'm here.
Even though I am a very skeptical person of anything supernatural, I do believe in the human soul for
Hmm.
pretty much one reason. One reason that I have like, I haven't experienced this experiment specifically, but it is like scientific fact. You know about the double slit experiment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I know about quantum
Yeah.
entanglement.
And
Yeah.
where is observation?
Mm.
What constitutes observation? Because the computer writing down what happened is not observation, and it is still in a state of quantum flux until a human looks at it.
I see where you're going with the soul aspect.
And whether the soul is a completely scientific phenomena and it is simply extra dimensional, I don't know. But I know that the human consciousness is, at least I know within myself, that the human consciousness is more than just the third dimension because of that, because of the way we
Interesting.
influence that simply through observation.
So actually, I just talked to someone about this on the
Sick.
podcast.
It's one of my favorite things to talk. That's why I like shoehorned it
Yeah.
in.
Um, something he said, shout out to HR Lexi, Justin from HR Lexi. But we were actually just talking about the double slit experiment. And he was saying, and I never thought about this way, he does not believe in photons. He thinks it is a wave, but because we use physical matter to detect and observe, we get a certain limitation on what it is we can observe with even not just with the naked eye, but the technology we create because it's physical, it observes like the snapshot of so instead of there being a photon, there is
A wave
the
that
one like bit of the wave. Which I cannot claim to know like, but I think that's interesting.
I get the idea.
Yeah.
I
And he
could not
explained
begin
it
to
a lot more
grasp it.
eloquently than I
But
did too.
oh, you're
But
you're good. I've never thought of it like that. I have thought of it a little bit like um simply the reason why we detect things the way they are is just because that's the way that we have thought of them,
mm,
which is a bit of it, like trees and tree falls in the forest, nobody hears it
mm,
type thing. But like, where does the quantum phenomenon end as far as observation goes? Like, if no one has observed it yet, truly is it two things, and how far
yeah.
can that get out of hand, you
Mm,
know um how much of the universe is unobserved as of yet by conscious beings, and how does that affect the way that it is currently, and then when we observe it, will galaxies snap into place?
huh. It's very solipsistic. Like we're the engine that makes
And I don't
through
mean,
observation.
yeah, it is a little solipsistic, but not as in it's all in it's all here for conscious beings, us, aliens, whatever. More like it, the waves and the possibilities were the universe, and then when conscious beings came into being, um then things started snapping into place.
Interesting.
It's not that the world was created for us, but that the world was a little bit more wibbly wobbly.
That's funny.
And then we decided that we knew things, and then the world was just kind of snapped into place.
Like I think you probably have heard before that a big part of what makes our intelligence unique is pattern recognition.
Mhm.
Kind of what you're saying is we're not recognizing patterns, we're establishing patterns.
Mm.
It's like which came first, chicken or the egg? It's actually one of those impossible. It's like God, one of those infallible. Like it may not be true, but good luck like proving that wrong.
I know.
Unfalsifiable
There
is
you
what I
go.
mean to
Yeah, yeah,
say.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's interesting. I've never heard that one.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so back to what we were talking about with language, like the Babylon stuff. A big part of our problem with was that communication in my mind or outside of my mind? Is there a God, or is all of this the result of random happenstance? We do not understand the questions that we're asking. It's like kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where it's like the answer to the universe is 42. What was the question?
Yeah.
Like, there's no answer that would be satisfactory because we have such a poor understanding of the nature of reality.
Yeah.
I think physics is maybe like I believe in objective reality, and that's actually where we should go from that. Is do you well, okay, before I go any further, do you believe in objective reality?
Um, like the local realism thing,
Um,
that type deal, or
okay, yeah, I should give you an example.
yeah, please do
Yeah.
because I think I know what you're asking, but I'm not 100% sure.
I have a couple of examples. I believe, and I'll admit that this is a faith-based observation.
Most are.
I believe that physics works a certain way. And even if people, which we definitely don't, but even if people don't understand what way that it works, it does work a specific way.
Ah, objective reality.
Yes.
Um,
Like there's
yes,
truth beyond my observation of it and your observation of it.
gotcha.
Things exist
Okay, so I, yes, I do believe in
and they
objective
work a
reality.
certain way. Like
Yes,
physics operates, it's a law. It exists this way.
yes.
Okay,
Okay,
so we're on the
yes,
same page about
we are on the
physics.
same page. And I think that that still isn't incompatible with the kind of solipsistic,
Yeah,
thank you,
sure.
solipsistic
That could just be the way
take
that it
from earlier.
works, but
Exactly.
it works a certain way.
It works a
Okay.
certain way. And yes, I do believe in objective reality. Yeah.
Okay. That is a great establishing point because what I've found out doing these interviews is that's not a given. Uh, there's a lot of people, and I mean, more power to them, but there's a lot of people that don't believe that, which
Mhm.
is kind of like a sad thing for me because it's like science is pointless then. Like, you're not actually getting to anything if there's
Yeah.
not an objectiveness
Mhm.
to it, which is why you have hard sciences and you have psychology,
Yeah.
right? Like, because this is like hard, observable, repeatable science.
Mhm.
Um, and okay, all right, there is objective reality in physics. What about math? Like one plus one equals two, even if there's no one there to see it, even if you're not even if you're not mapping that onto a physical reality, math is a constant.
I think the only way that that an objective reality of physics would be able to work is if math also is objective.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And there's
yeah.
weird math stuff when you get to like advanced levels, but let's say for now, one plus one equals two is an
Mhm.
objective truth.
Correct.
Okay,
I would say so.
now we get into the weeds because I think, and again, this is a faith-based thing. I can't back this up really. I believe in my heart, in my soul, that morality is objective.
Okay.
I think there is good and evil outside of people's understanding of these things. So when we decide what's good and evil. That's more like us detecting a thing. It's a discovery, not an invention.
Gotcha.
What do you think about that?
That one, I am not 100% sold on. My take on that is that it is that more good morality is a morality that allows a species to really thrive and be
Hmm.
happy doing it, um, and find joy and find purpose in it. Now that that I do believe, but I also am not against the idea that that's built into the world.
Hmm.
So it's kind of both in my
Oh,
mind.
I see what you're saying.
So like
Well, there's
the
okay, okay.
yeah, like
I'm
sorry.
with no, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I am a little bit more on the scientific mind of that. And that like, hating a certain disadvantaged group is just dead stupid for the fucking
hmm.
collective. Um, if we're
That's poor
breaking
morality objectively.
exactly, if we're breaking it down like to facts and logic.
I think that is objectively true.
Yes.
And that's kind of my point is it is because it's not good objectively, not good for humanity, right?
Yes.
So that's an example of where morality is objectively true. And
Okay.
that's a big thing to understand because what that means then, right, is like, well, that means that all morality is objective, I think. Because if that's true of one instance, that would, and the thing is, it's not binary, it's not good and evil, it's a scale, it's a sliding scale of like this is better than this, right?
That's true. Because like you could tell a lie that could really make the
Mm,
world a better place in the long run, but it's still a lie.
yeah.
Like the classic example is, the hiding people in Nazi Germany, hiding
Mm.
Jews in
It's
in your house.
dishonest for a good
It's
reason.
dishonest for a good reason. That's the like
And
obvious
you'd be a bad
example.
person not to lie
Yeah,
in that
exactly.
example.
Yeah,
Or
yes.
you'd be a worse person if you did. Like there's you could bring into arguments about like self-preservation. You're looking out for your family. But I would say it makes you a better person if you stick your neck out and do that objectively.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Oh man, that's
It
such an like
it pushes the world to a better place
yes.
by sticking up for people that you love, regardless of whether it's a lie or not, or
Hmm.
something of that nature. It makes the world a better place.
This might be coded from my upbringing, but like examples of profound self-sacrifice like is like the quickest way to make me cry. Like the firemen in 9/11 like rushing into
Mm,
buildings, like dying in the process to like save others' lives
yeah,
or like the Jesus archetype.
yeah.
Like that is like the quickest way to like touch my heart. I love profound self-sacrifice like that.
Mm.
I would say that's objectively good. That's what we call white magic, which is like there's there's all there's all for one, which would be like black magic, and then there's one for all, which would be like white magic.
Hmm.
So it's like I'm willing to destroy the world and thus that's a Beelzebub is a major demon, and he is the Lord of Flies, which is also to say the Lord of Shit. So it's like he's king, but all he has is endless amounts of shit.
Endless destruction.
Yeah,
Yeah, he rules over nothingness.
it's not
Yeah.
worth having, but he's
Yes.
king.
Yeah.
That's black magic, where it's like I will destroy everything just so I can be something. And then there's white magic, where it's like I will destroy myself for the betterment of the rest of reality.
Hmm.
Oh man.
I've never heard those terms before. Cool.
Yeah, which I mean I've done a fair bit of both of those things. But
I think everybody has.
yeah. magic is such a mundane thing. I think that's why people don't believe in magic because magic is like, well, like language is magic. Math, music, what we're doing right now, I would consider like intention. Okay, man, I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a lot right
No, no,
now.
no, you're good.
That was you.
Would
Andy
you?
brought a bottle of wine, so I've been. This is your fault.
Yeah, yes. But like, so would you describe magic as gaining an understanding of anything? So, for example, gaining an understanding of an opinion that you did not grasp, or learning that 2 + 2 = 4.
I have a really obnoxious answer to this
Cool.
question.
I don't really know anything about
I
magic, and
I think it's an obnoxious answer, but I also think it's the truth.
I might think it's great. I like prog metal. I
Which
like
again, when
obnoxious.
we get into definition and language, like it gets really muddy, right?
Gotcha.
In fact, um, one of my favorite authors of all time, Alan Moore, he's a famous comic book writer. He did The Watchmen, um, probably the most famous Batman comic, The Killing Joke,
Oh,
the
cool.
comic adaptation of V for Vendetta. Prolific comic book artist retires, which he's done stuff since he retired, but retires and very dramatically claims that he's going to move back to Scotland and become a wizard. And everyone's like, okay. But he has this quote, um, the language about magic is more about language than it is about magic. Um, my answer to your question is I think magic is intentional action or intentional expression.
Intentional expression. Cool.
So walking is magic. Conscious breathing is magic.
Me driving 90 decibels full scale of a bass into the maximizer plugin is magic
That's
because I'm doing it on purpose.
that's music. That's music magic. Yeah,
Ah,
you're a musician.
a musician, hell
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
But um that is a profound way of looking at it, especially since we are the only species that really can intentionally
Yes.
do things. We can get other species to do it, but we uh kind of rule that corner here on Earth.
Yes. And that's a good way of illustrating what I'm trying to say is
It's just the human spirit is magic.
mhm. Yeah. Tripping over a rock, I would say is not magic. Unintentional things, I would say, are not magic. But any intentional action, so all art, um, decision making, not just making the decision, but then acting on the decision. There's got to be like in all magic ritual, there's a ritual. So it's like I have this thought in my head. To get it out, I need to do a chant. I need to do a sigil, like draw something. I need to make a song. I need to do something that bridges what's in my mind to the physical world, like a dance, but it has to physically occur. I don't think thoughts are not magic, but acting on thoughts is magic. Um,
Gotcha.
yeah, that's my understanding. And again, make what you want of the most annoyingly complicated subject that there is.
You're good. Also, sometimes I go silent genuinely because I am not well versed in esoterica. I'm just listening, and
Yeah.
that's an interesting way of thinking of just the human spirit, the human possibility, and the human potential.
Mm.
Um, as that.
I think the only limitation to human potential is physics, like what is physically possible. Just because I will it doesn't mean I can levitate. I can build an airplane though. I mean, I can't build an airplane, but as people, we
Yeah,
can't levitate, but we can find ways around that concede to the laws of physics.
that's true.
Yeah. We'll find a way around it.
Concede to the laws of physics, but
Yeah.
still make your dreams a reality.
Yeah, do the thing, but understand that physics doesn't care what you want to do. Yeah. It's like the kid jumping off the counter. I can fly. It's like, I really wish that for you,
Yeah.
but you're gonna have to invent the airplane before you can do that. Yeah. Okay, so I promise we'll wrap it up here in a minute.
Oh,
We've
you're
been
good.
going a
I'm
while.
having a good time.
I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
You're a great interview.
Thanks.
But okay, so since we're talking about intention and we're talking about morality, would you say, as your own mental process, do you value intention or action more? And I'll give you two examples. I trip and accidentally punch you in the face, or I intentionally punch you in the face but miss. Which one of those is a worse crime?
Um, how bruised and bloody am I? No, it's not about choosing what's my favored outcome. I would choose the tripping. Uh, I would choose the tripping because if you hit me, as long as you didn't break anything, I'm laughing my ass off.
Intention matters more than consequence.
Well, see, that's a big statement,
Uh-huh.
and
It is, isn't it?
that's a big statement because
Some people are well intentioned to do horrible shit,
exactly.
but some people are good intentioned and still do horrible shit.
Yeah,
Or sorry, I meant the opposite of that.
yeah,
Some people are poorly intentioned and just don't have the execution, so they're harmless.
yeah. Um, yeah, that is yeah, putting a big blanket state because I was real honed in on just you hitting me in the face, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'd laugh it off, be
You
fine.
want more?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
But I was real honed in on that, but then you went and made it all encompassing, and then I wasn't so sure
Okay,
anymore.
so does scale change it then? Is that a determining factor on the answer?
Hmm. Let me put it this kind of way. I really believe that one of the best ways to live your life is moderation in all things, including moderation.
Mm,
So,
mm.
kind of what I mean by that is that I do believe that there is an objective morality in so far as it is just the natural way to best serve a species and make people happy and fulfilled. And there is no one rule in that question that will fully 100% of the time make that morality. Because the objective morality would be a sliding scale,
Mm.
then
Okay.
it truly depends on basis, but or case basis.
Okay.
Basis. What in the hell?
Case by case basis.
Thank you. A case by case
It's not an
basis.
easy question to answer. It's more complicated than that, dependent on the situation.
Yeah, and maybe I'm being a baby and running away from answering the question, but again,
I don't think so.
all things in moderation, including moderation, and in that I mean depends on the circumstance. Choose what's best.
I So this is something I've been talking about on and off the show quite a bit here lately. Objective morality and intention versus action.
Mhm.
And recently, I was talking to a friend about. I gave him the same example of tripping and punching someone or trying to punch someone and missing. And something he said that kind of provided me insight to this is I would prefer you accidentally hit me than like mean to cause me harm and fail. However, if that's a repeated thing, where it's like one time I trip and punch you in the face, it's like all good.
Yeah.
If I do it 3 times, you're like, okay,
You need
I
to
don't,
tie your fucking shoes.
yeah, tie your shoes. Like you are, that's criminal negligence. You are like criminally clumsy,
That's a
like
good
where you
term
are
to pull out for it.
so not paying attention
Yeah.
that it's now not okay. It doesn't matter that you're a drunk driver and meant to get home safe.
Yeah.
You killed a family. So like, yeah, that's criminal negligence, right? But what else that does is if I trip and punch you in the face 3 times, it's now going through your head that like, I don't really think you accidentally did that, dude. Like now, because of your repeated actions, your intention is in question. So I think intention is more important because, okay, another example, the drunk driver accidentally killing a family is still better than intentionally killing a family, right? Like even
Yes.
legally, that's the case. There's like
Yes.
manslaughter versus
Murder. Yeah.
murder, right? So intention, I think, is the more important thing, but action helps you determine intention. Because if you repeatedly fuck up all the time, maybe I think your intention is not A, to be careful, or B, it's malicious. You're like either criminally negligent at being a good friend, or like because you trip and hit people in the face often, or you're malicious and like are intending to do me harm and be like slick about it.
It's do you know the concept of it reminds me of the concept of malicious no, what was it called? Weaponized ignorance.
Mm, yes, I'm
Yeah.
familiar with this. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, honey, you're so much better at doing the dishes because every time I do it, somehow there's shit smeared on the wall.
it's like, babe,
You got to do the dishes next now. All this dishes are smashed to bits on the floor.
I know a lot of people that are like you see it in like I don't want to throw shade anywhere. Um,
Let's make enemies.
yeah. You see it in certain communities where fuck it. The goth community is big about this. Where it's like I am screaming at the top of my lungs, don't look at me. Where it's like my image is very loudly, I don't want you to acknowledge me. Which is like what I would call like it's like it's baby magic. Like it's crying baby, where it's like babies are super powerful because they can make a sound that elicits an instinctual response, like cats do. Cats meows is based off of babies crying.
Yeah, normally they make like they make like
Yeah,
weird ass sounds, but when they're around us, they sound like babies.
yeah. The way I defined magic would actually innately say that cats have magical abilities because they intentionally manipulate people. But yeah, there's a lot of that where
That's that's really I think it might that might be the case. And again, I think it's because of us. It's their cats are domesticated.
we just heard the cat meow
I
as a
know.
in
Yeah.
response to us.
But I think it is because you wouldn't see like maybe after repeated um contact with a human could a buffalo manipulate us into doing something. But the first time it meets a human, it's just going to do its same old routine.
Mm,
And with a cat, cats are domesticated.
mm. Or they
Not
domesticated us.
see that's also true.
They like Pavloved us.
They did, but at the same time,
It's cohesive.
yeah, it was
Okay.
like we're like they're eating all those mice for us.
Yeah.
These guys fucking rock.
It's
Keep
definitely
these guys around.
that's a good point. It's definitely a different dynamic than what we have with dogs,
Yeah,
where that
with
is like a master and servant kind of situation.
yes, that's a master and a tool,
Humans have
you
a
know?
bargaining agreement worked out with cats.
Exactly. It's a
That's
little
a
it's
that is a
under the
partnership.
table handshake.
Yeah,
It's the mafia boss or some shit.
that's
It's
so funny.
yeah. Whereas dogs, I love dogs. But yes, like the reason they are our best friend is because we molded them as tools and we loved them and we still do. But like, most all dog breeds have a job built into their DNA.
Yeah.
Um, and it's from us, and therefore they are domesticated and have a sense of intention
Hmm.
because it's kind of from us.
Oh, it's wired into them.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
And a lot of that like
That was
is
kind of word soup, but I agree with what I said. I didn't really have a thesis statement, but I agree with what
I
I
agree
just
with
said.
what you said
Yeah.
too. Like yeah, a lot of that was like historically like very unethical too, the way we breeded dogs. Just
Yeah.
like pretty horrible shit. Just like messing with this process that was taking place for millions of years.
Are you talking about recently, like in a hundred over the last like
Like
100 years?
over the last like several hundred years, not
Yes.
as recently as like 100 years.
Oh, oh,
Like I mean, I'm sure that too. Maybe is are you aware of more recent awful shit?
because my wife's a vet. Yes, I am acutely aware of animal welfare more than the average person and how whenever we domesticated dogs, we would choose a species that already kind of knew a little bit of what we wanted it to do. We weren't
Mm,
just choosing a random species and saying like, do what we want, whip, whip, whip.
okay.
It was uh, like sheepdogs descend from like wolf dog like species that did a lot of stuff with sheep.
Right.
Um, I think if I'm wrong, Harley make fun of me, but that kind of thing. We would make an informed decision about what animal we wanted to domesticate and for what job. Um, whereas over the last like 100 or 200 so years, we were breeding for like, how can we make it look fucked up?
Mm,
And that's where you get, and not to
yeah.
become Adam Conover, but that's where you get like pugs and stuff, um, backyard golden retriever labs, uh, laboratories. That's what I meant, not labs, the dog.
Mm,
Um, yeah, like backyard breeding shit,
mm.
where they're just
There's a lot of it here in the South.
yeah, where they're
Yeah.
just trying to make the cutest dog and they're mixing two different breeds that have like totally different jobs bred into them. And
Mm,
so they just come out an anxious, confused mess.
yeah.
And
Like us.
hmm.
Talking about domesticated species.
Huh.
Oh fuck.
God, we should never have interbred with those
I think
Neanderthals. We got their chill and we mixed it with our ferocity, and now we're all fucked up.
I think I almost incidentally made a eugenics argument, which I'm
Woo!
glad I like did like here's the ledge, and I'm like, oh wait, okay, let's back up a little bit.
Yeah, he's like, huh? What am I saying? Oh
Oh yeah,
yeah,
dogs. Let's go back to that.
yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That also comes back like that's poor outcome and poor intention.
Hmm.
Those are like you're setting out to do something that's not good, and the result was also horrible. Congratulations.
Yeah, yeah. The result was you making money off of
Yeah.
strange, fucked up creatures that you made in your backyard. They're the most anxious motherfuckers, and they don't vet who they sell them to. So
Mm.
they sell a huge dog that needs to run around to somebody that lives in a studio apartment.
I hate that shit, dude.
Yeah,
I
and it's
hate it
just,
so
and the
much.
dog's just, if you look the dog in the eyes, they're like, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I have a job to do. Am I not doing it? Oh God.
That's
And
why they're
yeah,
anxious.
exactly. Because it's like
Yes.
they want to serve you. And that sounds like
It's
that's
true
not, that's a
though.
crazy
It's
sentence, but
wired into
yeah,
them.
it is. They want to, and it brings them joy. That is what
And you
we
are depriving them of that joy by not giving them that experience.
yeah,
It's why we have to placate them with toys. And it's like,
yeah,
here's that dopamine you needed.
yeah,
Go fetch.
Yeah.
Who needs a little dopamine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's so true.
Yeah. Which
Oh,
is so funny because a cat is like a roommate. It's like
yeah.
I don't need to do anything
He
for you.
doesn't like your cat doesn't even really like you. It needs you for a few things.
Oh,
It's
she
like you're here
likes
to pay
me.
rent.
Oh, she loves me actually. Oh, she does. Come
Yeah,
on.
okay, I take that back. Cats do have personalities. Hashtag not all cats. Some cats don't give a fuck about you
Some cats don't give a fuck about
or
you.
anyone or anything.
Yes.
Completely psychopath.
And that's kind of the joy of a cat
Yeah, I
is that
agree.
eventually on the 50,000th time you crouch down and you go like this and you don't move towards them. You just say like, by the way, my hand is open for you. Eventually they'll go,
Oh.
all right. What's this all about then?
They're just being tsundere.
They mean what?
That was a litmus test. Oh man, I didn't mean
Oh,
it to be.
no, I failed.
But you're not okay. I no, that was really cringe what I did. I used anime terms.
Dude, you're totally chill. I like some
No, it's not.
anime.
I'm gonna flail myself later.
You self-flagellate.
Stupid.
God damn it.
Stupid.
Fuck.
I blame Luce to
Uh,
bring it all back around.
that's right. It's all her fault.
It's all
Her and her
crucify
rosary,
Luce.
her and her 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 rosary
Rosary.
jewelry. Incorrect usage of rosary. That's what it all comes back to.
Well, Andy, we did it. We went way over time.
Yes, we did.
Well, check out Johnny Mac this Saturday at the Bird Nest.
Mhm.
And then you've got music out now, music video coming out for the single you just released soon.
Yep, pretty soon. To be announced on the date on that, but yeah, it should be fun. Yeah, lots of new music coming in 2025. Although the obligatory big things coming. I bet you're really excited to hear
Big
that.
things coming soon.
Big things coming from Big Johnny Mac.
Well, thanks again, dude. Let's do this again soon.
Absolutely. I'd love to. Cool.
We'll see you next week.
Bye, Alice.